button here. So let me go ahead and explain what this is. My name is Dennis Smeltzer. I'm the president of TSANet, and you're going to see here in a little bit what the alliance is all about and how you can use it in the benefit of this. So I've got just about 3 or 4 slides. Okay, and then I'm actually going to kind of dive into the database and actually tactically show you how this works. Okay, it looks like somebody's coming in now. Or is that Joe again?
Yeah, I just viewed your presentation.
Okay, all right. So again, I've got just a few slides, and then I actually go in the database. This is kind of a presentation that I give. It is sort of a multi-purpose presentation. It's going to walk you through the alliance, talk a little bit about that, talk about the levels of membership, and talk about the benefit of the whole organization and the point of why you guys are members of this. I'm not going to dig into a lot about case exchange, but basically it is the ability for members to be able to work with each other and be able to transfer tickets within their CRM systems without having to go outside of their CRM system and track and instigate tickets with other TSANet member companies. That really is a different topic. We get into that at a later time if we want to do that. I'm going to concentrate really kind of on the basics of TSANet. And this is sort of give you an idea of the organization at a high level, right? The one thing that's important to understand about us that is a little bit different, we are actually a not-for-profit organization. And we were set up back in '93 to serve the industry. So our mission for this organization is to provide the industry a mechanism for them to be able to establish relationships and work with other companies and not finger point customers around when they get into these multi-vendor issues where you've got an issue with another company and you finally got to the point where you need to engage and work with them, or they need to engage and work with you in order to figure out whose problem it is. So by being part of this alliance that has several hundred companies that are part of it, then you all have agreed that you will work with each other. And we're going to walk through all that kind of stuff. So we've been around since '93. The thing that you're going to see and what we're going to talk about isn't something that TSANet instigated. We're a member-driven organization. Our members wanted us to come up with this, and they continue to drive the organization, just like you guys can now do, right? You want us to do something within the scope of multi-vendor support. You've now got the ability to do that. You're a member of this organization. So we operate off a very small global staff. There's about 7 of us in the entire company, but we do have several hundred members. In fact, we're about pushing 500 right now. So there's a lot of companies that are part of it. And the 2 bullet points down here, I think they're important for you to get, is that it is a core relationship structure. And in other words, what I'm saying by that is a lot of companies, Microsoft and EMC and Oracle, and I could go down the list, Cisco, right, of all these companies, what they've done is said, look, instead of going out and trying to do a separate agreement with another company when it comes to cooperative support, we're just going to use TSANet. We're members of it. We're already signed up to it. It meets our needs. And so if another company wants to have a cooperative support relationship with us, we just tell them to join TSANet and we're done. And I'll show you how that works. And what we do is we operate off a legal framework. So we got all these big companies, lawyers, to agree to a common set of verbiage about how you would handle confidential information, how you'd handle intellectual property when you're engaging and working with each other. And then the other thing we do is we provide this operational framework that allows a vendor-neutral platform where everybody can go and see how they're going to work with another company and how to escalate a call to another company. That way everybody's got one place to go, not only to see how to do that, but one place to go to update that information. And that's what I'm going to show you when we get to the member web portion. Okay? This is the membership levels, and I'll explain where you guys are at, and then part of what you probably will get phased into over a period of time. But the organization is set up where we have members, and then we categorize those members. You guys are coming in as what we call global premium, which means that that's the highest level of membership that we have in TSANet, typical for a company your size to be part of it at that level. But when we started the organization, one of the big benefits to this was that you could join into this ecosystem and have a relationship with everybody that was in there. So in this basic TSANet area, there's over 100 companies that are part of that. The premium TSANet, which is actually a subset of the basic TSANet, has got about 70 companies in that. And what that does is that just raises the bar that says that all these companies are obligated and agree to work with each other on a 24/7 global scale. Okay, so you've got the ability, and what we call this is a many-to-many group relationship. So what you've got is the ability to come into this relationship that you're now a part of, and anybody that is part of that, you can reach out to and work with, and they can reach out and work with you. But when you get such a high volume of companies that's part of this group relationship, one thing you're going to run into is not only are you going to have your partners in there, but you're probably going to have your competitors in there as well. So what we do is we put parameters around that says that if you're going to engage and work with another company, that there needs to be a mutual customer in play in that. So what you're going to see here is and I'll take an example. I'm going to take an example of you guys needing to for whatever reason, needing to go work with Microsoft. And I'll show you how that works. But the bottom line is, if you're going to call Microsoft, then that customer, that end user customer, needs to be entitled for support with Microsoft. And the same thing applies in the premium TSANet, that if you're going to call Microsoft at 3 o'clock in the morning when you got a hot customer on the line that's probably an enterprise level customer, well, that customer needs to be entitled for support with Microsoft on a 24/7 basis. Now, the same thing applies the other way around. So this works both ways. So let's say that customer called Microsoft, and now Microsoft needs to engage NetSuite. Well, you're not going to work with them at 3 o'clock in the morning unless there's a NetSuite customer that is entitled for that level of support. So I'm going to show you how all of this works, but be aware that there's this ecosystem called the basic TSANet and the premium TSANet. It's a many-to-many group relationship. They're actually, one is a subset of the other. So just because you're a premium member of TSANet, you might call the other company under the basic TSANet if that customer is not entitled to 24/7 support. If they are entitled at 24/7 level, well, you want to use the premium TSANet because the guidelines for that is they will work with you on a 24/7 basis. There are higher level SLAs. There is an escalation path that's available on a 24/7 basis. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to everybody. I know there's a lot of people that are just joining in. I have recorded this, and I'd recommend that you go back and listen to the first part of this, because it'll make a little bit more sense as we get into it. So that's the open group membership level. Now this other piece right here is what we call custom groups, and this is something that NetSuite is not a part of at this time, but highly likely that you guys are going to get involved in that. And what that is the ability for you to use the same legal structure and same operational framework to create a custom group. So when you think about, I've got a company out there that I need to have some kind of a cooperative support relationship with, but the basic TSANet or the premium TSANet doesn't meet my needs, don't go creating another separate CSA. What you have the ability to do is use the TSANet structure to create that custom group. And not only that, but you can even do, I've got companies that have created very highly strategic groups that they're selling products to customers, and they want a streamlined support mechanism to be able to do that. And so what they've done is they've gone in and created their small many-to-many group relationship that only a few companies are part of, but they do have a very highly level, streamlined relationship for them to be able to engage and work with each other. Okay, and then I've also got companies in here that use this for their partner programs, and they may pull in hundreds of partners that from their perspective, they're hosting the relationship. It's a one-to-many relationship with their partners, but from their partner's perspective, it's a simple one-to-one relationship with them. So I just want to give you the high level. Again, you're not involved in any of these custom groups right now. I'd find it highly unusual that that over a period of time you didn't get involved in that, of either you creating these groups or being asked to participate in other groups that are already formed and out there and hosted by other companies. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and get out of these slides. I'm actually going and show you how this works. Okay, so what I've done is I've logged in as Faye here, and you guys will be able to get into TSANet. There could be a variety of ways. I'll work with her on that. It could be a group login, or you might have individual logins. I'll send an email off to her, and she can decide how she wants to do that. But basically what's going to happen is you're going to get into this area right here, which is the My TSANet. And this is at www.tsanet.org, and I've already logged in. Okay, this is what you call your My TSANet space, and basically that's a shortcut area for the directory that you have down here. You're going to see a lot of companies in here. Like I said, our membership level is right about, it's 400 plus, I think almost approaching 500. You're part of the basic and the premium TSANet. So what I can do is I can filter this down to show you the companies that you do have relationships with. And if I click on all here, then these are all the different companies that you can engage and work with through TSANet. And there's a lot of them there. Okay, now you kind of see why companies will leverage this, right? Because if there's all these companies in there and you're part of it, and some other company says, I need to work with you, you tell them to join TSANet, you're done. What a lot of companies have done. But let's say I need to work with Microsoft. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click on Microsoft. And what it's going to do is it's going to pull up these tiles here. Now, what the system is doing is going in and it's saying, okay, NetSuite needs to work with Microsoft. What relationships do I have? And you have the basic and the premium TSANet. What Microsoft has done is they split this up by geographic region. So you've got Americas, you've got Japan, you've got China, you've got EMEA. You're going to call the region where that customer would likely call, because what you're doing is you're actually calling Microsoft on behalf of that mutual customer. So this is where we get into the point that I was making about, well, if the customer doesn't have 24/7 support, you wouldn't use the premium TSANet, you'd use the basic TSANet. And if I click on this tile, I'm going to use the Americas site here, right? It's going to pull up what we call a contact document. And this is a very simple layout telling you the hours of support, the products they support. This area right here, you want to pay particular attention to, especially when we get into, I'm going to show you the premium TSANet here in a minute, because they're telling you, Microsoft is telling you, this is the information I want you to have before you call me. Okay, and then down here in this area, they're simply telling you in a free form text area, this is how I want you to call Microsoft. It's how I want to be contacted under TSANet and under the basic TSANet relationship. So here's the 800 number I want you to call. Here's the code I want you to give a particular individual that answers that phone. And then you've also got an escalation contact down here. So this is the way, this is the contact document and the way that it would work, right? Again, this works the other way around. If that customer called Microsoft, you'd be able to go in and they would click on NetSuite, and NetSuite has posted a set of instructions, which I'll show you before we end this call, on how you would accept a call from another TSANet member company. But I want to give you some contrast here. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, just so you know, if you have an individual login, I'm going to add this shortcut to the dashboard, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I go to my TSANet space. It's just a shortcut now that I put up there. But let's go back through that decision tree. We'll go to Microsoft. Then I'm going to click on the premium TSANet this time. And you'll notice that it's different, right? So now this call could be coming in at 3 o'clock in the morning. There's an obligation behind that, but there's a customer behind this that has entitled for 24/7 support with Microsoft. So they're asking for a lot more information. They're saying, here's the information I want to have. And then down here in the contact instructions, what they're actually saying is, hey, call this number, but preferably have the shared customer on the line. So you might be thinking, well, what's the point of TSANet if I have to have the customer on the line? Well, the point is that you're able to collaborate with Microsoft in this case on behalf of that mutual customer. Not every company says have the customer on the line. But what Microsoft is doing is they're saying, if you're going to call me under this, and I know that I've got a customer that's entitled at that level, I want to get you pointed to the right resource that I possibly can as quickly as I can. And the best way for me to do that is to make sure that that customer is entitled for that level so I can get that call to where I need it to go. It's a little bit unusual in that they do it this way, telling you to have the customer on the line, but probably what you would do is after you got engaged with that Microsoft engineer, you'd probably share a little bit of information, and then you tell the customer, hey, go ahead and drop off the line. Let me work directly with the Microsoft engineer. I'll get back with you. Okay, so that's the whole point of TSANet, is for you to be able to work on behalf of that mutual customer, and you don't have to involve the mutual customer directly, and they don't need to go ahead and set up a ticket beforehand. You're able to call on behalf of that and set up a ticket for them. Okay, and then you've also got the escalation instructions down here for the premium TSANet as well. Okay, so that's what it would be like. Again, if I could pick any company that I want to. If I go here to, well, you guys have anybody you want me to pick, like a Cisco? Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and you can see you've got basic and premium TSANet with Cisco. If I look at their instructions on the basic TSANet, they're requiring this information. And then here are their instructions. They're basically very explicit about, this is how I want you to call me. This is how I want to be engaged. Okay? I think it might be a good idea for me to give you a little bit of a taste of what it looks like from another member's perspective that is engaging NetSuite. And I'll do that by actually logging in as a manager here. I can go into this admin menu. I can click on contact documents, and I can look at this contact document. As if I wanted to edit it, I could do it as well. But here's what it looks like. And inform the engineer that you are a TSANet member calling on behalf of a mutual customer. So whoever's calling that number, whoever answers that would need to know. And then we've got Faye as an escalation point. Okay, these are documents that can be edited all the time, but I just wanted to kind of show you that. So before I get out of the database, is there any questions so far? Is this making sense to everybody? And I'll assume silence is
No question.
Okay, so let me go back to my slides here. Okay, and I've got just a couple of more. Oop, went one too far. So here's kind of what I see as the key takeaways for you to capture out of this, right? One of them is understand that we're an organization of members, right? So you're part of this organization allowing you to work and engage with basically the industry. It's almost a who's who of TSANet members if you go look at that, right? Understand the relationship that you're using. There is the difference between basic and premium, and because you're a premium member, then you do have that capability of using the premium relationship, but only where that customer is entitled at that level. And if they're not entitled at that level, and this is something you're going to have to get from them as you're working the issue, right, then you want to use the basic TSANet to engage that other company. The custom groups, which you're not part of right now, can have a total different set of elements. There may not even be a mutual customer involved in a custom group, but you're not part of those right now. And as you gain more familiarity with TSANet and get involved in custom groups, then you'll find out exactly what the elements are of that group, because they can certainly vary from group to group. Okay, the point of all this is to raise customer satisfaction. So you don't have to finger point that customer and say, look, why don't you call Microsoft and tell me what they said? What you can do is you can say, look, I can work with Microsoft on your behalf. And you don't have to start this thing all over again, and we can collaborate with each other. I might need some information about you, right, or whatever happens to be that they're asking for when you go to engage that other company in the contact document. But the point is, you don't have to finger point that customer around. You can actually call another company and work with them directly, as well as this works, again, the other way around. Okay, if you do have issues in working with another member company, then you can escalate that call in the instructions that are given down there. And if you've got problems, we need to know that, right? And we're constantly improving the user experience with TSANet. So you're going to get things about webinars that we have upcoming, enhancements to the website, things that we do for our members. You're going to see that, as time goes by. We don't try to flood you with emails, but we try to keep you up to date with things that are going on in the organization. Okay, and the last one here is this resources slide. Again, there's a lot of stuff on our website. I encourage you to go look at that. Again, I'll get with Faye and we'll figure out what kind of access. It's not really what kind of access she wants you to have. It's how you get into TSANet. So you all will be able to get in. I just don't know if you're coming in through a group ID or you're going to have individual IDs, and I'll have to work with her on that, but I'll send her this presentation as well. We've got a great LinkedIn group. We've got like 1,000 users that are part of that. So if you want to join in on the LinkedIn group, I highly encourage you to do that as well. And again, you can follow us. We have social media, Twitter as well. Any questions for me or on anything that I covered?
Dennis, Aaron here. Just a real quick question. I'm on the site that you went to, the directory.
Yep.
There are some great areas there, and every time we click on it, it says invite. Does that mean?
So
does that mean that we? Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No. Let me answer that. That's a great question, right? So this is where we get into the custom group thing, right? You guys are part of the basic and the premium TSANet, which means those companies that are highlighted are also part of the basic and the premium TSANet. So the ones that are grayed out are part of a hosted custom group. And remember, I was talking about how some companies use TSANet for their partner programs. So I may have a company like VMware or Cisco or EMC that they actually use TSANet for their partner programs. Well, what we figured out very quickly was, okay, you don't have a relationship with them. They're not part of the basic or the premium TSANet, but they are a member of the organization. And you can either pull them in to your own custom group, so they would have a one-to-one with NetSuite, or maybe you want to engage that other company. What I would do is contact them and say, hey, you know what, NetSuite wants to have a relationship with you through TSANet. Here's how you could do that. We would either do it through a custom group or you could upgrade your membership into an open group. So what that does, Aaron, to answer your question in a much more succinct way, is if you click on invite, what that does is send an email to me. And what I then do is I go out to that company and I say, look, we've got a request here for NetSuite to be able to engage and work with you. Here are your options. Let's see if we can do that. And then I obviously would get, if you clicked on that, I would get back with you and say, hey, I've contacted, this other company, and we're going to see if we can upgrade them. Very high rate of getting that company to either join into a custom group with you or to upgrade their membership into basic or premium TSANet.
Okay. And another thing, I guess, is some of the, for my experience, some of the partners that we've dealt with before are not on this list yet. So does that mean? Oh, well, my assumption is that they're not a member of this TSANet.org yet, right?
That would be correct. In any kind of relationship, that if they're not on that list, they're not a member of the organization. So, and it's more likely, Aaron, that you know, we need to reach out to them. And if you've got people that you want or companies that you want, you know, just send me an email. And there's actually, I think, on the website there's an invite button, and you can even use that, and it'll send it to me automatically. If you've got contact information, I'll set up a call with them, and we'll walk them through how easy this is, and then we get them in a relationship with you one way or another.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
Anybody else have anything? We had a lot of people joined in a little bit kind of midway into the call. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, guys, I think I'll go ahead and close this out. Again, like I said, this is not a complicated thing, but it's just one of those things that it takes a little bit of explanation goes a long, long way instead of you trying to read a bunch of stuff on the website. So I'm going to go ahead and get this recording out to Faye, and so she can distribute it. If we need to do this again, I do these things all the time. So it's actually a lot of fun for me to do them. So, you know, if you think within your teams that, hey, there's another group of people I'd like to have that, it's part of your membership fee. It's why you paid to belong to this organization. If you want to do another webinar, understand TSANet a little bit more, understand how these custom groups work. Maybe it's, hey, I need to have a stronger relationship with a company that I've already got the basic TSANet work with, but I need something stronger than that. You know, that's what we do. Give me a call. Let me know. We work that out with you. I can tell you how it works. It's really pretty simple stuff. Okay, so with that, thanks everybody for joining in. I appreciate your time this afternoon, this evening, or this morning, wherever you're calling in from. And have a good day.
Perfect.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Danny.
All right, bye-bye.